Batman 161, Legacy number 926. This is Jeff Loeb writing with Jim Lee on the art. Or, for those of you who might prefer, Hatush. So, Matt, you don't look happy.
I don't like this book. I don't like this book. I even saved it close to last. Because usually the first thing I open in the week is something that I don't get out of the way. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start with something else this week, really start the week. And I just should have started with this. Because after you read the good things that came out this week, and then you have to read this, it makes you that much more angry. And I get so confused because I know Jeff Loeb has had rough patches as a writer, right? There's a lot of the Ultimate stuff from, a decade and a half ago really whiffed. Not all of his DC stuff was great, but this may be one of the worst things I've ever read from him.
Yeah, first of all, rookie mistake, Matt. I read this first to get it out of the way. That was my game plan.
I normally do that, but I was like, you know what? I'm really enjoying Mr. Terrific Year One. Let's start the week with a bang. And I was like, that was so good. And then I read this last night or the night before. I can't remember. It was last night. God, man. Maybe I want to quit reading comics. It was that bad. That was funny to say. But, man, where do we even begin with how bad this is?
Well, I mean, we start off because it starts off like wrapping up the cliffhanger from the last one, which was that Hush had Damien with a blade to his neck, and there's a bit of a standoff. And then Damien basically just does the Batman Year One trick. So we reference Batman Year One. Like Batman even brings it up in his narration. Where he's like, years ago, when I was cornered by the GCPD, I unleashed a horde of bats. So they're referencing, the classic stories. They do it again later on with a Killing Joke because there's a lot of, So my couple of big things with this issue is that it wraps up where we left off last time, what feels like super easy, and it just to deflate everything again, so that we're back to not having like them be in jeopardy. And Batman just punches Bane and says, Damien, take Bane back to Arkham, and that's just kind of that dealt with. Meanwhile, Jason and Dick are with the Joker. Joker's got them at gunpoint, and
he also has braces now because Batman reset his jaw.
That's right, yes. And Dick dives at Jason to save him from gunfire, and they go out the lighthouse into the water. So there's a whole, spectacle there of them being in danger, and Batman's worried about them and whatnot. But I think for me, where the writing really started to annoy me is Batman's like investigating, like where Hush has been hiding out, and he finds like all these models and like almost like board game pieces of like Batman and like the various characters, and he's like, okay, what have I stumbled into? Or did he want me to find this? And when you have the main character starting to question, did the villain want me to find this? Like, it just, I don't know, it's just so cliched that I just stopped giving a crap.
Yeah.
So that was my first big problem with the writing. The other big problem I had with the writing is I do like Batgirl, like Barbara Gordon showing up in Gordon's hospital room and him thinking it's Batman at first until she steps out of the shadows and it's like his daughter. I like that moment in theory. What I don't like is all of a sudden Barbara's just Jason Todd and he's like, why didn't you kill Joker, Bruce? We have to kill him now. He did this to my father. He did what he did to me. And just like Jason Todd feels like he was transported out at like 2006 or whenever it was, where he just came back and he was angry and he wanted the Joker dead. It feels like Barbara is now just like somehow she's simultaneously just after being paralyzed, but also after she got better. Like she's just both those things combined. And she's out for blood to the point where we end most of the back chunk of this issue is her and Batman fighting, where she's like, no, Batman, it's time to cross the line. We have to kill Joker. It's time to do what you can. And even her own dad's like, no, that'll make us this or that. And that's when we start getting flashbacks to goddamn Killing Joke, where Batman's picking up Naked Gordon, and he's like, no, like we can't cross the line, Batman, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's like shameless references to classic stories that feel weird to reference at this point. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't reference them at all. You can reference them in a way where it feels like, oh, this is a traumatic thing in the ancient history of the characters. But it's being referenced like it's still fresh in their heads, like it's still like making them tick. Like Batgirl's still obsessed with what happened to her. Batgirl, Barbara Gordon has had so many stories where she's had to encounter the Joker in some form or another over the past 20 years that her attitude here just feels way out of character, and it feels just designed to have a fight with Batman so we can have this confrontation.
We're at the point where she's come to terms with it and that she was Oracle, and Bruce even brings it up here. She became more than Batgirl, right? She was Oracle. She was doing work for all of the heroes. She even became bigger than Batman in that way. That's
the frustrating thing about this as well, is that it's not just that it feels out of character from a time perspective and all the things she's went through. It's dumbing her down. It's making her Jason Todd. It's this anger just feels too dumb for Barbara. I don't like it.
And between this and then the three Jokers trying to tie them together because of the tragedy that happened at Joker's hands to them, it feels inauthentic and it feels forced.
Yeah.
Because Barbara and Jason are two different characters, right? There's nothing that ties them outside of working with Batman and having, again, tragedy at the Joker. And it was how they responded to it differently. And just this, again, this anger, like you pointed out, it's been done. It's been enough time. And even then, I don't feel like Barbara ever responded with that much anger towards the Joker.
No,
she's the type of person that takes it and is like, how can I be better?
Don't get me wrong, she was traumatized, and there's definitely been stories where like, oh, Joker shows up and she gets maybe a bit more of like a chill versus other villains because hey, Joker did this thing to her and made her feel weak or whatever, and like, you know, there's reasons to do that. And also, when she's fighting Batman in the alley, she has Predator cloaking tech that she turns on, and I was laughing because I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily mind the idea of Batman or one of the Bat family having this tech because it actually seems like very useful to a stealthy Bat character. But this came so out of nowhere, and like, see if this like was initiated by her or Batman or whoever when they're like up in the rafters and they have to sneak in somewhere and like, oh, I've got some new tech that I've been experimenting with, and they click it on and we get Predator mode. I'd be like, that makes sense. It's kind of cool. Like, I'm down for this being something that he's got on the bat belt or whatever. But having it, like, be whipped out when she's already in the middle of a fight, as if it's going to, like, I don't know. And then Batman starts, like, cycling visions, and he's cool. So we actually get, like, thermal vision so he can see her. So it's almost immediately negated. Like, it's like 3 panels later, he's already negated it. I don't know. The whole thing just feels...
And we get... It makes him look evil with the red eyes,
yes.
too. Like, evil. So when this happened, I thought because of... what he had found with Hush, right? Of there were these pieces and they were set up almost like a chessboard where each person had a dark side, you know, not a dark side. What was it? Like a dark counterpart, you know, like white and black on the chessboard or whatever. So I'm like, oh, maybe this someone masquerading as Batgirl now, right? Because, you know, they're out of the... And no, it just ends up being Barbara, and she's upset because Bruce didn't kill Joker.
I think that's wishful thinking on your part, because I don't think there was ever even a moment where they were trying to suggest that it wasn't really her.
No, but I was just trying to tie that, like, okay, there's counterparts out there. Maybe there's, you know, who knows what Hush has been up to. If this person has a cloaking device, you know, maybe they're just looking like Barbara at this point.
Yeah. So the book just ends with the fight being interrupted with Dick yelling, you know, stop this fight right now or we'll stop you. And he's standing with Huntress, Damian, Catwoman, and Riddler. And I love how there's a question mark from Batman's narration of who, like, you know, who is this? Because not only does it look like a really weird version of Riddler, it doesn't even look like the one that was in this book, like, 2 issues ago. Because he looked like Cable. No. And maybe it's just the hood, but I can see a couple of pouches on his belt, but he looks so different.
Yeah. So he's confused. Real quick, I just want to point out there's a Mighty Crabjoys sign behind Catwoman.
Oh, very nice.
And Damian, which I like, which again...
Are we adding this to... I mean, I'm assuming that was new for the movie. Are we adding this to the list of fictional things that DC... You know how we have Big Belly Burger, Jitters Coffee, Chocos? Are we adding Mighty Crabjoys as a fake band in the DCU?
I think we are now, because it's going to show back up in Superman. But there's a reason for that one. That I came across. But yeah, I just saw that. I didn't... When I was trying to rush through this, I didn't notice it till right now. I just want to point that out. Yeah, this was just... Man, I don't care at this point. Like, I want to get to Matt Fraction so fast.
And we still have the lingering threat of one, a couple of delayed issues, but also the second half of it coming at some point in some form. So
yeah,
I mean, like, I'm here for the train wreck. I'll happily look at it just to talk about it because it's easy to read if nothing else, but it's not good. It is a bad comic.
Well, this is the first time where I felt like there's nothing fun to talk about that much. You know what I mean? Because it is mostly Babs fighting Bruce, and that's not enjoyable. I will say, though, that Jim Lee's art looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't have that rush quality that I've come to expect with him. And even on the pages that, the pages where they're going through the memories, his style's a little bit, not sketchier. It's more like smudged, almost like Bruce is pulling these memories out, and all the, the colors are different. It's flat blues, purples, red there at the bottom. So that was the high point in the issue for me was the art. But yeah, man, the fight. I'm just kind of over it. Also, where's Jason at the end here? We got Riddler, but we couldn't get Jason. He's still swimming somewhere outside the lighthouse.
Counterpoint, Matt. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm just saying. You're getting his allies together and you're bringing Riddler?
I don't know. Yeah, the art's all right. I mean, Jim Lee, like, depending on your taste, is either really good, all right, or just kind of mediocre. I kind of fall into he's all right. He has some pages, some panels that I quite like. He does feel quite old school. I definitely don't have the feelings towards the art that I do the writing. The writing just feels like it feels like, other than just some references to like modern continuity and characters that didn't exist back then, it feels like this is something that Jeff Loeb wrote like a year after Hush 1, and it's just been sitting there, and he's went back and he's like touched it up with a few things because of new continuity, but most of it feels like it was just written back in like 2008 or 9.
Pete, that's how much of a lead time Jim Lee needed to get them out on time.
I was going to joke, actually, because you said that it feels like it's less rushed. I was like, yeah, because he decided by this point the next 2 issues were going to be delayed, so he's got 2 months per issue now.
Yeah, so like, it's just dire. I read this and I was like, with each progressing issue is worse than the last. And like, it's not me just looking back at like, oh, well, the first issue this wasn't bad, but because it's further away, there was like parts of the story that hadn't unveiled yet, so we were still looking at it through fresh eyes. And now I'm kind of like, it is what it is, and I hate just saying that, but it's not good, and I don't think it's ever going to be able to pull out of this nosedive.
Nope, we're just here for the crash landing. Matt, what are you giving Batman 161?
No, I talked about how much I like the art, so I feel like I can't give it as low as a score as I thought about. So I'm gonna give this a 4.5.
Yeah, the art's not bad, and it's definitely like I like. There's definitely worse. Like, I've read worse books, so I think for me, I'm just going to go with the 4. I'm not going to go too like unbelievably harsh. It's just a bad book.